Hello, my name is Kevin Hallman, currently a senior at Tarleton State University. This class is 43, 44, Introduction to International Business. A little bit about myself. I'm 32 years old, have a wife, 3 kids, um, live in Frisco, Texas. I work in Glen Rose. So if you were trying to understand Frisco, why Tarleton, it's only 30 miles away. So my boss actually enables me to continue my education to move up in the company. Uh, which is great because they pay for it as well. We were given uh, 2 questions to answer during this video presentation that involve dumping. And if you're not familiar with what dumping is, it is the vast exporting the vast amount of quantity of a produce to another country that then floods that country's economy and strips them of jobs, uh, money. The economy just suffers overall. And the bad thing about dumping is the WTO, World Trade Organization, uh, cannot penalize the companies. It can only penalize the government that the companies come from. So that's been a major issue. Our first question, 619. People love finding a bargain on their favorite items while shopping, but few people would likely want those items made in the home market, which would create jobs if it meant paying higher prices for them. Do you agree on the sentiment? Explain. Uh, I'm one of the people that actually try to keep money here in America. If it's made by Americans, I don't mind paying a little bit extra, especially, made by American, uh, made in America, for one. Uh, one good example of this on a smaller scale, something that's kind of hit close to home recently. In August, Hurricane Harvey hit Houston. My wife is from the Houston area, so we have family all down there, her friends. Uh, HEB was a company that stepped up, and HEB prides themselves through all their commercials about locally grown products, all the produce. They try to get right there from the economy that the store is in, which is huge because it helps the farmers, even during a dry spell. And during the hurricane, uh, HEB really developed a consumer relationship that went deeper than just customer, uh, customer business relation. It kind of felt like family how they wanted to take care of everyone that was down there. I read an article on the extremities that took place behind the scenes to get produce into the areas that were flooded that were unable to reach. And a lot of people in Houston that didn't really think about, I want to keep my money local and help the economy here. That there was never really a thought on their mind. I want to shop HEB because I know I'm helping my local economy versus going to Walmart. You have to excuse my voice a little bit. I was at a cheer competition. My daughter, CH here, won national champions today, so we're pretty excited about that. We're going to Disney World. Back on topic, uh, HEB stepped up when other companies wouldn't. They wouldn't take the extreme measures that were needed, and by doing that, they developed a loyalty from their consumers that used to shop at Walmart because it was cheaper or they had more selection. Now you speak to any one of my friends or family that live down in the Houston areas, they will go out of their way to go to an HEB because they know what HEB has done for them, and it helps keep the money in the economy. On a larger scale, for 9 years, I owned Mrs. Baird's Bread Route. That company is owned by Bimbo Bakeries, and uh, I had family and friends that were in the company before I got started. And there used to be bakeries scattered all through the Metroplex, the Waco area, Houston, uh, all over. So that the product was made fresh and you can get it fairly fast. If a store was out, you can run to a warehouse and you'd have it. Uh, I guess I was 20 when I bought my first bread route. It was an independent organization. So you would buy the route, you would buy a territory, and then within that territory, you would have stores that you would service. It was about that time Bimbo Bakery decided they wanted to start shutting down bakeries. I am from the Waco area. Uh, there is a bakery. There was a bakery on Franklin Drive in Waco, and that's where all the fresh donuts were made, all the cakes, the pies, and stuff like that. Not necessarily the bread, but mostly the pastries. And they shut that down, I want to say in 2004, and outsourced the job to Mexico. And so I have a personal experience with this, topic in general. Uh, I didn't come along for 2 years when I bought my first route, but I would be out on the route, and a customer would come up to me and say, the product sure it's not the same as it used to be when it was made here in America. And I'd have to agree with that. Our bread started developing. Uh, Mrs. Baird's is a Texas brand. It's a Southern brand, so it's well known. And people that know their bread, they get Mrs. Baird's. But they started developing air pockets because they were cutting costs on the ingredients they were using. They were cutting back on the preservatives, so the bread didn't stay fresh as long, just to create a higher profit margin. And through this, our bread company suffered. We were commission based, and so we made our money off of sales, and this allowed other competitors like Sara Lee, Wonder Bread, Nature's Own, Flowers, uh, to Pepperidge Farm to come into the market and really do some damage to our name and take a lot of sales away from us. So I want to say around 2007, 2008, there was a big push in Bimbo Bakeries to uh, get things back to America, start being made in America, made with better preservatives, and just have a better product overall. And this did mean, the price of bread would go up. I don't know if you guys remember the 2008, 2009 when the price of fuel, diesel went. I think diesel was 5.50 a gallon. Our bread, just a loaf of bread, was 3.30, 3.49. But that was mainly because of the wheat and the produce we were using to create that bread started becoming domestic versus foreign again, and we put more money and expense into our product, and in return, our sales and our started showing more growth, and my business became a little bit more successful, and we regained the old clients that we had because we produced a better product, and it to some people, yeah, we produced a better product, but in a lot of people's eyes, it's made in America, and people pride themselves on that. And I'm one that if I'm searching online on Amazon or eBay, the first filter I choose is made in America or shipped in America from America. And if I can't find it, if it's in China or some other foreign country, I just absolutely will avoid that product and find another alternative. Uh, and and to keep talking on the bread business, I had really good friends, parents that worked at the bakery in Waco that shut down, and there are a lot of jobs lost. I want to say there were 88 people just on the production line, not to include the managers, the sales managers, the janitors, the people that maintain the produce. Overall, I believe there were 380 plus people that were affected by this. So we lost jobs. So it was a small sampling of the local economy that was suffering, or personal history. And those jobs are outsourced to Mexico for no telling pennies on the dollar. I didn't get into the specifics of it, but that left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. So yeah, I have personal experience with that, and so I try to stay American made if at all possible. Tools, Snap-on, they pride themselves on made in America by Americans own a lot of tools, and a vast majority of them are Snap-on. They do cost a lot more, but it's a lifetime warranty, and they're made in America, so it's definitely benefiting our country. The second question that we were asked, question 620, do you think people from a different culture would respond differently to the question above? If so, explain. So I was kind of confused on this because if I said no, do I really have to explain? No. But in all seriousness, I it's kind of hard to tell. I know I've taken an international business management course before this, and we did a study in Johannesburg in South Africa, and the market there, it's third world. Uh, there can be a huge industry on one side of the street and absolute slums across the street. There's I wouldn't say a black market, but a market that the government knows exists, but it isn't taxed, and it's the only way for people in that country in Johannesburg to stay afloat. I believe it was over 70% of the income is made on the black market, uh, the untaxed market. So I think it just depends. Cultural diversity. It's such a huge topic, and this is kind of a broad question. Um, in their situation, I really believe that they would want foreigners to spend money on their product versus uh, them spending money on their own. That way, they're bringing in money that wasn't already there, and it's adding to their economy. Um, that's one example. Some countries look at Americans as being greedy or selfish, or you know, we're not very highly liked, I guess, in some parts of the world, but most parts we are. I know Trump's slogan was, and I'm not going to get into politics, but let's make America great again. And that was pretty much his whole premise is let's get jobs back to America that we had outsourced, even though, he may have used companies in China or whatever to build his buildings or at a cheaper rate. Uh, I'm on board with, you know, rebuilding America, and our unemployment rate right now is at an all-time low, and that's a big deal. Uh, Other countries, I really believe, you know, they some countries like Mexico, tourism, they really depend on the American dollar to drive their economy versus inside spending of their own. So when I go to honeymoon in Mexico, uh, people are out there hustling on the street and on every corner, you know, trying to get my money, which I don't mind that. They're out there trying, trying hard to succeed. And what good will come from only circulating the money that's already in their country? Uh, I think they really, without tourism and the American dollar, not just the American dollar, the yen, other currency, other forms of currency, they really drive their economy. And without it, they would, they wouldn't be there. They would vanish. So um, another big topic that would talk about different cultures, uh, the Hispanic culture. You hear a lot of people gripe and complain about taking Americans losing their jobs because illegal immigrants or whatever. I do believe that if you're here, you should be here illegal. But you know, I, every Hispanic person that I've ever met over here working is working for a cause, and they're not lazy. Uh, so I guess they would not agree with my sentiment American made uh, by Americans because Hispanics really drive, especially the Texas market. Um, the work they put in, the time, the, a lot of lazy Americans, the jobs that they pass up because they feel like they might just be too good to do. Uh, are taken by Hispanics, and but yet people want to grab and complain about it. And I just don't understand that at all. So overall, I think people from different cultures, some might feel the same as I do. It just depends on the culture. I mean, but overall, I believe that a lot of the poorer countries definitely depend on the outside economies helping boost theirs. So that's all I have. Looking forward to doing the next video, and I'm signing off. Thank you guys.